Okay, what's going on, guys? And welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Roscoe, the special guest. You said don't say a special guest, but now you're on the spot.
Yeah, here I am. Guys, how's it going? We have an action-packed show today. We are going to discuss the GOAT situation in the UFC. Conor McGregor tweeted who his GOATs were, and it got the whole world talking. There's plenty to talk about at the top of each division. Vacant bantamweight belt, the lightweight title, the welterweight title. We're going to get into all that. And then
BMF
we're also
title.
going to discuss BMF title, and we're also going to get into this weekend's UFC. So, Barry, Conor came out and named his GOATs, and the greatest of all time for those of you living under a rock and don't know what that means. He ranked Anderson Silva in at number one, himself either tied number one, if not number two, George St.Pierre in at number three, and then John Jones tied in at number three, if not number four. What did you make of what Conor McGregor said, and what are your thoughts on it in general?
First of all, it's good to be back. Second of all, he's ruffling feathers for the crack. You know, he's sitting at home and he's in a massive mansion and he's just stirring the pot.
He is, isn't he? Who was it?
But he's
Khabib came out with,
creating shows for us, you know, which is great. Cheers, Conor.
Khabib came out and was like, "You are number one Twitter fighter," which I think was absolutely gas. Look, for me, the pound for pound is one of those things where if you actually understand pound for pound, it was actually set up in boxing, and it was sort of, if all fighters weighed the exact same, who is the best? And when you really look into that and sort of deep dive into it, for me, George St.Pierre comes out number one every single time. Long time UFC welterweight champion, and then his swan song, he moved up to middleweight and beat Michael Bisping for the middleweight title. We were there. We saw the man in action. He was brilliant. He dropped Michael Bisping and he took him out with a rear naked choke. It was an absolutely beautiful performance.
Do you actually remember that? Do you remember that fight?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Like 74 cans of beer later.
Yeah.
$7 cans of beer as well to go with it. Like, they were stupid boys. I actually think they could have been like $10 or $13 a beer. You know what?
Yeah.
Silly carry on. We're like, take the card. But yeah, it was crazy. And look, he's my number one. He has no failed drug test or anything like that. Obviously, Anderson Silva does. John Jones does. And
Conor doesn't.
But Conor lost in convincing fashion to Nate Diaz, and he lost in convincing fashion to Khabib. Yeah, he did go back and get the Nate fight, but George St.Pierre, let's be honest, he went up and he won the middleweight belt. I think even if it was Robert Whittaker on the night, he would have done it as well.
Yeah, but hold on, right? Conor did the same thing. He got to win back against Nate, and then went on to win the title. And then George St. Pierre lost against Matt Serra, and then got the win back and won the title.
Yeah, but then Conor went and lost to Khabib. George didn't lose after that.
Yeah, I know, but like it's sort of like his story is still ongoing. Like it
is still ongoing. Definitely is still ongoing. I'm not ruling out what Conor did. Conor like changed the game. He's the number one prize fighter the UFC has ever seen. The world's ever seen.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing we don't want to. That's the thing. Like when you're talking about GOATs, you can't. I wonder what other people think, but I don't think really you should add in how much money they brought or how much money they earned, because like who's
the best at the sport?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just think I think there's some people who get totally left out of the conversation all the time, and I think it's so harsh. Daniel Cormier, two-way champion. No one ever mentions his name.
Yeah, but it's because John Jones sort of finished him.
I know, yeah, but he was also, after that fight, he was done for he failed drug tests. You know what I mean? So it's a bit like, all right, grand. And then Henry Cejudo and Demetrius Johnson as well. Like, Demetrius Johnson holds records for most title defenses in UFC history. You can sort of argue maybe the caliber of opponents he's fought compared to someone like John Jones is far less. But, you know what I mean? You can only beat the person across from you. And then Henry Cejudo, two-weight world champion. You know what I mean? like he also beat Demetrius Johnson and Dominic Cruz. Like they're two really big scalps. I know it was the end of Dominic Cruz's career, but Dominic Cruz is the bantamweight GOAT, and I'd sort of say that by a long stretch. And Demetrius Johnson was the flyweight GOAT by a long stretch. And Henry Cejudo beat both of them.
I know. I think the smaller guys always don't get as much recognition, and this is counteracting my argument for people getting the most money and the most, because the flyweights and the bantamweights never really get that huge audience. They don't bring in much of a crowd.
Yeah.
So when you're saying the money doesn't really count, but
it's like the eyes count.
Yeah.
It's like the eyes on it. It's a bit like if I was the best footballer in the world, right? And I played in, I know that's very laughable, and I only ever played football in the Scottish League.
Yeah.
People be like, oh no, he's not the best.
Yeah.
Because the competition he played against wasn't as good. Or, I heard he was good, but I didn't really see much of him.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone like Ronaldo, who's like, or Messi, who's like playing in the top divisions and they're in the Champions League and, you know, they're winning the top prizes. They're seeing it every week. And I suppose when you're talking about MMA, I feel like nearly everyone knows who George St.Pierre is. But like, if you don't know who George St.Pierre is, you definitely know who Conor McGregor is. And I feel like a lot of casual people who watch sport will just be like, Conor McGregor must be the best ever. Sure, he won all the belts.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they hear it.
If you were walking down the road now and you said to someone the top, and you gave them the John Jones, Anderson Silva, Conor McGregor, and George St. Pierre, what way would they rank them in order of who they actually know?
But what road am I walking down?
The mean streets of Clontarf.
Okay, so if I'm in my own hometown, who would they know?
Yeah.
Well, obviously Conor McGregor would be number one, but like, I know what that is. Am I stopping from my own age?
Yeah, go on.
I would almost say John Jones is the second most known because he's still active, still going.
I'd agree.
But Khabib is probably the second most known.
I know.
They might say Khabib's the best because like he's undefeated and he beat Conor, therefore he is the GOAT. You know what I mean? Yeah. Khabib is another person who I didn't say. He's also left out of the GOAT conversation. Like he just like absolutely destroys people one after the other. No mess.
Well, he's only on his run now. Really, I know he's undefeated for so long, but like,
but people want to say Messi and Ronaldo are the greatest of all time, and you're allowed to say that, and they're still active. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they've won the most as well.
Yeah, like Khabib's basically won the most.
Well, he's only done 2 title defenses. One against Poirier. Oh no, 2 title defenses. Won the title against Aloy Quinta. Defended against Poirier. Defended against McGregor.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor's never actually defended a title, hasn't he? Not.
No, he hasn't. No, which I think is funny. But I think he's like always looking to go onwards and upwards to the next step.
Yeah, well then he went to fought Floyd and stuff as well. So everyone's journey is different. So that's why we have this conversation. Like I know
for me, right, it's very prevalent that George St. Pierre is number one, and then there's like a whole list of other people who could be playing at number 2. You have John Jones. If you want to exclude his drug tests, you could argue John Jones over George St. Pierre. But like when you fail 2 drug tests, I think like really that drops you down. Then you have Anderson Silva, because like Anderson Silva's heyday was like unbelievable. You have Fedor as well. People aren't mentioning Fedor. You have Demetrius Johnson, Henry Cejudo. You can even put Dominic Cruz in there because he actually beat Demetrius Johnson. And then you have Conor McGregor as well. You know what I mean? I probably forgot someone.
Khabib.
And Khabib. There you have it. Like, you know what I mean? You have 8 people who you want to put in there.
Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes, if you want to start including the women. And she has a very, very strong case for it as well. And it's funny because people are so quick to discredit Conor McGregor and they want to be like, oh, you're Conor no hugger. And then I saw a lot of people being like,
Who even used that phrase?
I think it's an American phrase.
Yeah.
But John Jones, like, I have 14 title defenses. But beating someone in a title fight, I don't want to like say that's not as good, but he sort of went on and like faced like a few, like he fought OSP and he fought Anthony Smith and he fought Thiago Santos. And like they all sort of moved up, and he was sort of like fighting them because he wasn't going to fight like Daniel Cormier or Gustafsson again. You know what I mean? Maybe a bit harsh on Anthony Smith because he beat Gustafsson. But when you look at these guys, like John Jones is almost like his better fights were when he beat like Shogun and he beat Rashad Evans and he beat Gustafsson and Cormier.
Before the PED stuff started coming out.
Yeah, he was sort of beating 9 out of 10 fighters, and now like he's almost fighting 7 out of 10 fighters because
he hasn't been as impressive since as well.
No, I feel like John almost fights the person in front of him, if that makes sense. As in, like, if John's fighting a 9 out of 10 fighter, he'll fight 10 out of 10. And if he's fighting a 7 out of 10 fighter, he'll fight 8 out of 10.
So, like, when he's in training camp, he's like, right, I only need to train enough to beat this guy, not like to beat himself.
Yeah, I think so. And, like, he's done a lot of sort of self-sabotage. But, Barry, give us your list. Who's the GOAT for you?
I'd have to go with George St.Pierre. Then it's sort of tricky, you know. I think he is the one.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Khabib is sort of knocking around now and being undefeated. What is it, like 20 something now?
28 now, I think. 29 now.
Like, that's unbelievable. I think it's just easier to go with George St. Pierre. Like, the others can fluctuate. Like, obviously what Conor's done, what Henry Cejudo's done, what Demetrius Johnson's done, John Jones.
Do you see Anderson Silva off the back of this has challenged Conor McGregor to a fight at 176 pounds? And Conor McGregor said, challenge accepted. This happened in the last 2 hours.
No.
Barry, if these two fight at 176 pounds, who walks out with their hand raised?
I have to say Conor. I think Anderson Silva's just too old now. He's like 40-something. He's coming off another injury. It's...
Will that make Conor McGregor, like, if he was able to knock out Anderson Silva, how impressive would that look considering, you know, Israel Adesanya went 3 rounds against him?
True, yeah. I think it's just like when you're looking at certain, like the way Conor said certain people were 1, 2, 3, and 4. He knows that could annoy George St. Pierre and get him to want to come out. You know,
yeah, true.
For a massive payday. Because if he calls George number 1, then that means George is like
George is ahead of him.
Yeah. So now he's like, wait a minute, that might like ruffle a few feathers.
True.
Yeah.
Barry, I'm going to run you through a few divisions in the UFC.
Yeah.
I want you to give me your take on them. At the moment, the flyweight title is vacant, but Davison Figueroa and Joseph Benavidez are scheduled to fight each other, I think, at the end of June in a rematch. Figueroa missed weight last time. Do you think that's the right rematch for the title?
I'll just say yeah. Although Figueroa like won quite convincingly last time.
Yeah. Then at bantamweight, the sound on the underground is that they're going to do Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo for the bantamweight title. Also, UFC 250, you have Sandhagen versus Sterling. The odd man out in this situation is the number 1 ranked fella in the division, Marlon Moraes. What do you make of the bantamweight division at the moment?
That's it. There is, like, I was just listening to Sean O'Malley. He was on Luke Thomas's show, and they're going over those sort of fights that are coming up, like some really exciting fights. It's almost going to be like they're like semi-finals and then a final. So I think all the top 4 are all gonna take on each other. And the king.
What about Marlon Moraes? He's sort of left out in the cold here.
Is he injured?
I'm not too sure if he's injured or not, but he's the only one who doesn't look like he has a matchup. And Sunset, who's ranked 5, is fighting Garbrandt, ranked number 9.
Yeah.
An impressive win there for one of those two could like almost get them, you know, in line for a title shot as well.
Yeah. Well, apart from you asking me, what do I think about Marlon Moraes here? Who else is saying that?
Who else is saying which?
Who else is knocking on the door of Dana White's office, being like, "What about Marlon Moraes?"
Well, the funny thing is that if you look at the way the bantamweight division is, right, you have Sterling at 2, and he's going to fight Sandhagen at 4, right? Yeah. Then you have Peter Yan at number 3, and he's going to fight Aldo at 6. Pedro Munoz is at 7, and he's going to fight Frankie Edgar, who's coming down to the bantamweight division. There's another man in the mix. Cody Garbrandt's going to fight Rafael Alonso, who's number 5. So Marlon Moraes might have to go back and fight Jimmy Rivera again, who's already knocked out recently. Or what you could do is to throw it back in there. Ask Dominic Cruz, does he want to fight Marlon Moraes? And then you have a quarterfinal and you have a lovely bracket.
I'll just agree to that, man, because that sounds pretty good. Although I don't see Dominic Cruz being like, yeah, Marlon Moraes.
But if it gets him back to a title, he might.
I know. He might hold out for TJ Dillashaw.
TJ Dillashaw is also due to come back, I think, in January or February of 2021. So, like, that's looking exciting as well.
Yeah, but a win for Cruz in that could put him back up in the title contention, because you can still say that the fight was stopped early, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Next up, I'm going to take it to, Barry, is the lightweight division. Obviously, Khabib is the champ, and Justin Gaethje is the interim champ. Poirier is going to fight Hooker. Do you think that leaves sort of Ferguson and McGregor, or do you think that fight isn't really enticing enough now after Tony Ferguson lost?
I don't think that fight was really going to happen unless it had to happen. Now, I don't think it really has to happen. Like, there's obviously Khabib's doing what he's doing. He's obviously the champ. Gaethje now is the interim champ.
Do you think like the next Tony Ferguson fight should be him versus Charles Oliveira? I think people would love that fight.
Maybe, but it's because the Khabib Ferguson fight is just it might happen further down the line. It's not going to happen next. People are more now like looking somewhere else, looking at what Gaethje's doing next. Gaethje's stolen his fire now.
Okay, so do you think we're getting Gaethje, Khabib, and then do you think there's going to be a big backlog there in the lightweight division? Because Conor can sort of jump in and jump out whenever he wants.
Yeah.
And like a winner, just say Dan Hooker beats Dustin Poirier. I don't think people are clamoring for a Dan Hooker title shot.
No.
Like very fan-friendly fight style, but I don't think anyone gives him a chance of beating it, Khabib. So therefore, I don't think anyone's that interested in fighting Khabib.
Yeah, he's not really well known as well. Like Gaethje, McGregor, Khabib, Ferguson, they be all the top with Poirier around there as well.
I'm looking at the rest of the division, and like, sure, it's like the top 6 and then like everyone else, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because like you have Kevin Lee, like he's probably going to take a year off. Aloy Aquinta, like, is he actually going to be able to fight for a title again? Don't think so. No. Diego Ferreira, look, he was impressive when he beat Pettis, but like I'm not like clamoring to see him. Gregor Gillespie, like, it's still all I can see is him getting knocked out by Kevin Lee. Islam Makhachev, like, he's never going to fight Khabib, so that's a bit out there. Donald Cerrone, like, we just saw him lose. Drew Dober, 14. I'd actually like to see him fight Paul Felder, because I think that would be like a very entertaining scrap. But like, I see Drew Dober as like an Aloy Quinta-esque person. Yeah. And then Beneil Dariush is like, how many times has he been ranked between 12 and 15? I think his entire career, basically.
Yeah. Well, Conor's obviously getting called out by Usman as well. Then obviously
Usman, Masvidal, Diaz rematch, Justin Gaethje, and Khabib.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva are also like possibilities. So I feel like Conor could almost like churn out 2 or 3 fights really fast. I feel like UFC are too slow to sign a McGregor fight because they're like, oh, the money, and then there's no fans and there's no gay. But I'm sitting there going, you need to get McGregor in there now because the pay-per-views will be massive. If you think 700,000 pay-per-views for Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson, like, that's a massive pay-per-view number for those guys to do, considering those two have never drawn on pay-per-view ever before, and neither have Cruz or Cejudo. So it just shows people are willing to put their money down for a good product. So why don't they put McGregor down and then see if they fight again on a fast turnaround? I'm almost a bit shocked that we haven't seen McGregor since the Cerrone fight because he came out so unscathed.
I know. I was listening to another show there. I think it was actually Pete Carroll's show with Noel McGrath, 2 sound lads. They were saying that that there could be a possibility of like a 2 million. You could make 2 million. Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I believe that's a possible figure. Yeah.
Well, nothing else is going down.
No, And then, like, if you're looking at your other pay-per-view draws, we might as well look to the welterweight division, and we're not looking at the champion. Obviously, Kamaru Usman is calling out McGregor. Obviously, he wants that smoke. And then I think it's Ali Abdulaziz sort of has like the hold over the two divisions because he's the manager of Kamaru Usman, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Gaethje and Justin Gaethje. So I think he probably wants to do like Gaethje versus Khabib because like he'll make so much money off managing both those guys. And he's like, right, we'll do McGregor Usman, and I'll make Usman loads of money, and in turn make himself loads of money.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what he's angling for?
The money. Well, like
Yeah.
he is in charge of the upper echelon of fighters here. Everyone just wants to grab Conor McGregor, you know?
Yeah.
Like they want to.
Everyone wants to slice that pie before he retires. No one knows when he's going to hang up the gloves.
Yeah. Who knows if these lads even really, really dislike him? Like obviously Khabib, he's not on Khabib's Christmas card list. But like someone like Kamaru Usman, he's not drawing big numbers at all. Let's not lie. Like Kobe Covington was the one who brought in over half the eyes in the last fight.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at that division, right? Tyron Woodley is fighting Gilbert Burns this weekend. We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah.
Colby Covington actually this week announced his departure from American Top Team, so he's no longer with them anymore. Jorge Masvidal's in at 3, and Leon Edwards is in at number 4. So Usman said his next fight is going to be one of those guys if it's not Conor McGregor. I think he was almost angling at Leon Edwards because Masvidal doesn't seem interested in that fight. I think Masvidal's like, if you're not going to pay me what I'm worth, I'd rather fight Nate Diaz again.
Yeah, but Masvidal said that Usman was offered it to fight him, and then Usman said no, and then came back and said Usman came back and said I'll take it, but then in between that, Nate Diaz had accepted a fight.
Okay, well maybe I think the fight to make is Usman versus Masvidal. Personally, that's what I'd like to see.
It makes sense for Usman, and I'd say Usman would be a heavy favourite. But there is something. Masvidal versus Conor is something that I think I really want to see if everything's just laid out on the table. It would like you'd be interested in both lads. Both have like the obviously great backstories. If you put Masvidal against Usman, unless Masvidal wins, it just kills off that hype. Then
it could be a Nigerian nightmare for Masvidal.
And then where does the Usman go from there?
I think in an ideal situation, it's again you're trying to fit 5 pieces into a 4-piece jigsaw. You know what I mean? With these guys, you're left with 5 fighters.
I want to see Leon. I want to see Leon Edwards against Usman.
2.
Yeah, but obviously we're going to get into this weekend's fight because if Tyron Woodley wins, he could then move up and he could then fight against Usman. But Leon Edwards is ready.
Leon Edwards is more than ready, and I feel like it's very like the lightweight division. You have those top 5 guys. And then everyone else.
Yeah. And this also comes down to locations as well. Let's not forget that as of right now. Like, do you even think Fight Island's happen? I know they saw
I actually do. I think the closer we get towards those dates, I think it is happening. I think Dana White even come out and they're like, I want to have all the infrastructure built and then take photos and then reveal it. I think he just wanted to reveal an island with nothing on it and then be like, this is it. Yeah, I think he wants to have it like built and be like, for people to go, fucking hell, that's so incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Cowboy pulls up in his van.
Yeah, his RV.
RV, that's it.
Yeah.
You're too American, man. You're too American.
Yeah. So let's see, right? Woodley's going to fight Burns.
Yeah.
And then, what do we think? I sort of want to see Covington versus Masvidal as well, just because, you know, that ATT beef. You know what I mean?
I would as well. Yes, but I don't. I think Masvidal has a heart set on either Nate Diaz or Conor McGregor.
If Leon Edwards can't get into the country or we're waiting a while for Fight Island, I'll happily have Woodley versus Covington and Masvidal Usman.
Yes, Woodley versus Covington and Masvidal Usman. Yeah, I'll take that as well.
And why not do them all on the one night?
Yeah, I thought you meant that as well. What happens now? What happens now if Woodley wins on the weekend quite convincingly and then gets on the mic and calls out? Like there's your promotion right there because like Usman and Woodley are both based in America as well.
Yeah, well, I think that was me basically saying Woodley would win this weekend.
Yeah.
Because he needs that. But if Woodley comes out and wins, Woodley has a lot going for him, and also it's one of those things where if he wasn't Strymone bag, and you know me, I love T Wood, he'd have more fans behind him and more people sort of clamouring for him to get the title shot. Because realistically, Woodley defended the belt, I think, 3 or 4 times. He only had one bad fight, and other than that, he was a fairly dominant champion. And next thing you know, he loses one bad fight, he gets another win, and he's still sort of like, he's almost 4th in line at the moment for the title shot.
I think this is going to be a new Woodley. When do you want to get into this weekend's card, or do we have much?
Well, we can get into it now if you want.
Yeah, I think so, because I think it's the perfect time. Like Woodley, it is fighting this weekend, UFC Fight Night. It's on the Apex Arena, so this is going to be very interesting. What's happening going down in Vegas? Ross, you brought up some funny point about the WWE's NXT fighters. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so WWE have now got like their sort of rookies or whatever they want to call them, and they're like acting as fans in the arena. So I was sort of wondering, could you see he's fighting Mackenzie Dern's fighting earlier in the night, and then can she come back out and sit in the bleachers for the Tyron Woodley fight? I'd be interested to see if you're allowed to do that. Probably not, I would imagine, because I think the WWE, they had the Perspex glass up.
Speaking of wrestling, did you see? I was on Twitter newsfeed. Ariel Helwani was tweeting it, and Chris Jericho's in the ring, and then Mike Tyson walks down with an AEW T-shirt with Henry Cejudo, Vitor Belfort, and who's the guy who used to be light heavyweight champion, fought against John Jones. He was he was the captain against Rampage.
Oh, Rashad Evans.
Rashad Evans, yeah. By the way, he's
Rashad Evans as well.
Yeah. They all came out, and then Mike Tyson tried to rip his own T-shirt off, and he's absolute beast, by the way, Mike Tyson, and like Hulk Hogan. But the thing was, it was so like he couldn't rip it off properly. But yeah, the life of wrestling, that's crazy. We actually mentioned Henry Cejudo possibly going to WWE, but now I think
that was mad. Like I didn't see that. I actually saw a picture of Vitor Belfort with Mike Tyson, and people were like, no wonder he's in such good shape.
Yeah,
TRT Belfort.
Yeah, they all came down to Titantron. So that's crazy.
I'll have to YouTube that.
Yeah, but it's you're too busy watching SmackDown. But yeah, this weekend it is UFC Fight Night. As we said, it's on the Apex Arena this Saturday, and then also next weekend it's UFC 250. So make sure you will be coming out with a show with that for next week. By the way, we were meant to have Paul Hughes on today's show, but unfortunately, I had some problems. Obviously, hence the difference in the backdrop. Ross, we're gonna start with the main card, the main event of the evening, because the whole card itself is not amazing. Tyron Woodley is taking on Gilbert Burns in the welterweight division. What are you expecting here? And first of all, start off with, who exactly is Gilbert Burns for people that do not know?
Gilbert Burns is possibly one of the most dangerous welterweights UFC have to offer right now. He has unbelievable knockout power in both hands, but his really major factor is his jiu-jitsu. He is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, and he is one of the elite. He's actually a second-degree Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. So much so that he had no fear going to the ground with Damian Maia, and some even said going into the Maia fight that he actually had better jiu-jitsu than Damian Maia. He might have the best jiu-jitsu in the welterweight division. He also beat Gunnar Nelson by decision in his fight before. So in terms of Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioners in the welterweight division, as an MMA fighter, he's the best that UFC has to offer. So
is he almost like the Islam Makhachev of the welterweight division, just sort of racking up these wins, and people are sort of hesitant to fight him?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I don't think he's actually lost a fight at welterweight. I've seen him previously lose at lightweight, but he's never lost at welterweight, I don't think, as far as I'm aware. And like, he's beaten Brazilian Cowboy, he's beaten Aubin Mercier. He's sort of almost like secretly beating everyone, if that makes sense. So Gilbert Burns one to watch out, and he is game as anything. He was calling out Francis Ngannou, and he wasn't messing. He was like, I'll fight Ngannou on short notice, no bother. This man redefines the words anytime, any place, anywhere. And not only on top of that, he was calling out Woodley when Covington pulled out of the fight that they were supposed to agree on his card. And Woodley was ignoring him. Woodley was like not writing back to him. And Gilbert Burns is convinced that Tyron Woodley is afraid of him. What's your take on it, Barry?
I'm getting excited. Carry on. Tyron Woodley, what's his cause?
Tyron Woodley is unfortunately coming off a loss, a very bad decision loss to the UFC welterweight champion, Kamaru Usman.
No, like a bad performance loss, not like he should have won the decision. Yeah.
No. Yeah. It was the worst performance of his career. It's the second time I've ever seen Woodley freeze. He froze against Rory McDonald before, and he froze against Kamaru Usman. Look, Woodley is absolutely devastating when he needs to be. We've seen it in his knockout of Robbie Lawler when he originally won the belt. We've seen him against Darren Till. He knocked him down, took him down, tapped him out. He had 2 fights against Wonderboy. He was explosive in both. Obviously, he can also be extraordinarily tentative. But Gilbert Burns brings the fight. So expect fireworks in this one. I could see Woodley probably getting knocked out here. I just think Gilbert Burns loves the scrap too much. And I think Woodley's probably the slicker of the 2 boxers. But both will be absolutely jacked going into this fight.
Yeah, Woodley's no spring chicken. Like Gilbert Burns, like from watching his stuff, he's very exciting. But I think ever since Woodley lost his last fight and he's been getting called out, I think he's more. I have a feeling that he's going to be more of a dog now going into this. Like he's like, right, I have to reprove myself. You know what I mean? All this shit music saying champ stuff. I haven't heard any recent releases, so therefore he mustn't be making as much music. Although who knows what song he'll come out with walking out. But I can only see Woodley winning this. But the great thing is, you said yourself that you're only a star once you become a star, and this could be a huge like if Gilbert gets the win, he could be the next. I'd love to see who each one is calling out next. But I'm going to go for Woodley as well. This one, Ross, you know what I mean? In the co-main event, Blagoy Ivanov, one of 2 European fighters on the card, is taking Augustus Sakai in the heavyweight division. Ross, I only found out that Ivanov actually previously beat Fedor in Sambo. I think
he did, yeah. He was also the PFL heavyweight champion. Look, he is as tough as they come. He's gone the distance against Junior Santos, Ben Rothwell, Tai Tuivasa, and Derek Lewis. And if you can last 15 minutes and 25 minutes against Junior Santos, against all those guys, you're a tough man to get out of there. In terms of Sakai, he actually has won 11 of his 14 fights by knockout. So these 2 are going to go after each other.
Say so.
This is almost like an unstoppable force versus the immovable object. And I actually like Blagoy for this one. I feel like he's fought higher level competition, and I also feel like he's beaten higher level competition. I know Saki has a split division win over Arlovsky, but a win over Ben Rothwell and Tai Tuivasa I think is slightly better than a split division over Arlovsky.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bulgarian Bull, aka Blagoy. Then also a big shout out to Billy Quarantillo, who is actually our mate online. He's taken on Spike.
Yeah, he follows the show. So
yeah,
these 2 I think both 1-0 in their UFC tenure. I'm going to go for Billy just because he's a fan of the show. So I'm going to go Billy, second round, TKO. Honda Billy.
Then same here. Then 2 lads from Dana White's Contender Series. Roosevelt Roberts is taking on Brook Weaver.
I actually really like Brock Weaver because he's like a Native American, and I just think he loves fight. He'd love to fight everyone in a phone booth, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
he's
both these lads.
He's really that type of guy.
Both these lads this is a huge fight for both lads in this lightweight division. Like this could like sort of make or break their careers.
When I saw him fight Vince Pichel, I was like so disappointed from hell Pichel and Roosevelt Roberts. So I'm gonna go for Brock Weaver, and I think he'll get like a 3rd round TKO.
Okay, since we've been agreeing on nearly everything, well, I've been agreeing with you. I'll go for Roosevelt. And then Ross's favourite Instagrammer, Mackenzie Dern, is taking on Hannah Cyphers in the Strawberry.
Yeah, Dern, obviously, absolute submission specialist. She's now a mother. So I like the fact that she's a mother, and the fact that Cyphers actually is lost to Gillian Roberts by rear naked choke before. I mean, she can be subbed. So I'm going to say Mackenzie Dern, second round submission.
I'll go with Mackenzie Dern as well. Also, the main event of the prelims is Caitlin Chukagian is taking on Antonia Shevchenko, Valentina Shevchenko's sister. And Caitlin Chukagian previously fought Valentina.
That was actually her last fight, which I actually think is quite funny. Yeah. I'm going to go for Caitlin Chukagian this time because, like, obviously she got smashed by Valentina, so this is her like chance for redemption. Like, right, I can beat her sister.
Like, I don't think Antonia hasn't been as impressive.
Yeah, she's also 35. I thought she was like really young. She's not.
Yeah, but Valentina has previously beaten Caitlin, so she has, and she trains with her all the time, training with the best. Sharp and Zion. I'm just going to go for Antonia here. A couple of shout outs for people on the card as well. Tim Elliott, he's taking on Brandon Royval. Tim Elliott is in the flyweight division, man. He could get he previously fought for the title. He could make another run in this division. Who knows? Louis Smoker, the man who ruined UFC Dublin against Paddy Hoolan, is also on the card. So if anyone's watching that, make sure to boo him. But there's nothing really else here that catches the eye, Ross. But anything else to say about what we've talked about on today's show?
No, I think if you have enjoyed today's show, what we would love to do is if you went in the comments below and told us who you think the GOAT is, who you think is going to be the next bantamweight champion, who you want to see Kamaru Usman fight next, let us know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
stay energized.
Stay energized.